Okay, so here is a solo flawless Festival Lost 6-man event being done with a very powerful Strand Hunter build. Build breakdown will be at the end of the video. I was asked by a few people to do this, so I figured that I would do it on a random Friday afternoon, so that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So, like I said, build breakdown will be at the end of the video. I'm using Festival Flight, Mini Tool, and Heart Shadow, and Exotic Void Sword. Just watch how powerful this gameplay is here. So we've got to get 80 motes. I got to go in with a suspend, and I go in with the Void Exotic Sword, then I go with another suspend, and then that VIP gets melted because he's debuffed with all the damage, right? I get my 20 motes. So I'm using the Festival Lost 6-man as a sort of build testing ground to show you this build and further cement to you that this is one of the best builds in the game, and you can justify using this over Prismatic Hunter build, because Prismatic Hunter does not have Ensnare and Slam. It does have Ascension, yes, I hear you on that. I'll explain more about what's going on with the Hunter in 2025 at the end of the video, right? So you'll get a bit of information about that as well. So look, next VIP, same thing, just look at how strong it is. Constant overshield, yeah? We've got my 20 motes, I need 80 motes phase 1. What I realised on phase 1 of this activity is that you literally just ignore all adds. You've got more than enough time. You just need to kill the 4 mages, the 4 VIPs. Yeah? That's all we need to do. But just look at the amount of suspend class ability that we're getting. Right? Really good, right? So yeah, on phase 1 it's chill. Phase 2 steps it up. Phase 3 steps it up even further. So yeah, it can get hectic on phase 3, and it's a really good test of what's going on. By the way, I didn't use any funky mods. I just used Pressure Cooker, Extinction Revives. I've already mentioned that, but I've mentioned it here though. So look at this, I go in Viz with the sword to then immediately take down the rocks so that de-aggroes the servitor to our side, of course. That's an example of Heart Shadow being very clutch for certain things. Yeah, it really is a fantastic solo weapon in certain activities. It depends on what you're doing, right? It's very consistent. If your special weapon and your energy weapon can do the job, then adding Heart Shadow as a utility weapon is good. And it does nice damage to back it up. It's far better than Lament, tell you that much. Lament's in a terrible place at the minute. The reason why Lament's in a terrible place at the minute is because the Bungie wants you to use Wolfsbane, because Wolfsbane's the new Lament, and it kind of is. It is. It's better than Lament. Wolfsbane's pretty damn good with attrition orbs, especially. Now I'm gonna spend some turrets here, right? We're all turrets. Don't care about those tripwires. Just all turrets. Okay, that's phase 1 done. On to phase 2. Now on phase 2, what I noticed is the time is a little bit more tighter, and you need to do a little bit of ad clear, not too much, right? Not too much. Now there's that RNG element on which bubble the VIP will come out of. Like the bubble, like look, we get ogres here as well. So I go in with a suspend and a grapple combo to get to my target quicker. Then I suspend again. He's debuffed. Finish him up with Festival Flight. Look at all the orbs I'm making. And I can go in Viz, get all the motes. See how good this is? Yeah, get all the motes and then go and dunk. Do another grapple to suspend these enemies. Make a clone. That clone will add survivability as well. That's why I go clone in higher end stuff. Like if I'm doing anything really difficult, clone. I mean, I'm not saying this is really difficult. I'm explaining to you that it's better to run clone on this build in the end. Because you're making so many clones, it's worth it. I know Whale and Maelstrom's super strong. I know that it is. But if you're nearly going to die and you've got a Whale and Maelstrom up, that might not save you, whereas the clone's more likely to save you in the end. Right, that's what I'm explaining to you with this. But in other cases, that wouldn't be the case, and you would just use Whale and Maelstrom. Okay. We've got 20 motes. You're capped at 30 motes, by the way. So it's better to kill one VIP at a time, right? Because, well, you would wait. You would lose 10 motes on the floor. So it's getting a little bit hectic now. Only a little bit. We're looking for our VIP. Again, go in with that suspend plus overshield. Yeah. I almost feel like I'm playing a little bit of a Banner of War Titan on Hunter with this. It's very tank. Yeah. You're severing the target. You're making a lot of orbs. You're getting Woven Mail, by the way. Woven Mail's infinite with this. It's infinite in terms of if there's enough ads to kill, you will keep getting that suspend back because of speed load of slacks. Plus we're picking up orbs and that gives Woven Mail as well. And the amount of supers we're getting. The amount of supers that you're getting with this. Not to mention Silk Strike's probably one of the best Roman supers in the game right now. It really is. I once had a little mini argument with a Hunter main. Let me tell you this story quickly. And I think I was using Star Eater skills and showing the damage with Silk Strike. Explaining to you that it's literally one of the best supers in the game. Roman super. And even after seeing that footage, this was a few months ago. Even after seeing that footage, there was one or two hunters that still said they didn't like Silk Strike. They can't use it. That was their answer. And that's not an answer, hunters. You're not allowed to say, oh, well, I can't use it. I'm not good with it. Well, why don't you practice? How's about that one? Because this super is literally one of the best in the game. Right? It's incredible, Silk Strike. So, Hunter mains, get used to using Silk Strike. Because it's out-damaging most other supers. It's incredible, right? And obviously I haven't got Star Eater skills on this, but you get the point. I haven't even got it. If you spec, a little bit of super, you creep that super above 100, man, you're getting a little bit of differences there. So what we've got the 2 alignments to do. Look at the Arch Shadow. We're able to skip the servitor. Generally, you've got to DPS the servitor, you know that. You've got to DPS the servitor to close them up and all that. I don't need to do that, not on this one. I just go right in, although I'm getting trolled here with these Frawl. Because you need your feet on the floor to go invis. You can't go invis mid-air with the sword, I don't think. It won't perform the right heavy attack. Look at that. Look at that suspend. Look at all of that. Incredible. Yeah, and if you get knocked back by a boss, see, suspend negates knockback boss damage. You know the boss stomp that bosses have in the game. Well, as soon as they stomp you, when you're doing your suspend and you time it right, you've negated the boss stomp and you haven't lost damage on that VIP or boss. Because you're getting your dodge back every second. It's a 1 second cooldown. I mean, that's power creep, lads. I mean, if that doesn't entertain you or creep up make you interested, then I don't know what ever would. We could be as powerful as ever, but there's still some players in the game that wouldn't have a clue because they're wandering the streets late at night. That's the issue. They don't know. That should really entice you, hunters. 1 second cooldown on a class ability stat with an overshield that provides DR and Woven Mail, and you can spec into it with Original GLs. No, that's more than enough. I don't want them to nerf it now because I think it's very strong. I want it to keep it like this for a while. I don't want Bungie to touch this at all. I hope they don't. But here we go. This is the difficult phase. Tier 3 subjugators and Dread. We all know Dread enemies are tougher than most. So we've got that to do. We've got to do a little bit of clear list. We will run out of time because the ads will keep sacrificing at the base. So we've got subjugators each time. Pay attention to super regen, class ability regen, and just the overall survivability. Remember, Pumpkin Banes are OP. We're looking for our next VIP. There we go. I get weakish there. My shields almost break. Boom, overshield goes in. I control the subjugator. We are controlling him. That's why I really like this. I know that people said, well, you could use speed load of slacks with Ascension spam. Yeah, you can. But that's not doing the exact same thing as this, is it? We are suspending. So if you do Ascension on a subjugator, you're going to get DR. You're going to get amplified. I understand that. But this builds a variation of us doing things a little different. I'm not saying... Look, if you're going to hold me to, like, what's the best subclass on Hunter? It is Prismatic Hunter, yes. In Most Like Cryo is overwhelmingly the best one. But this is up there, up the ladders. If for me, top 5 Hunter build. Top 5 Hunter build that I've ever played. In my opinion. Everything else just pales in comparison. Shards of Galanor, Spirit of Galanor, you know, some weird Fortracer build with the class item. Yeah, all these things. Even Dusk of Renewal. Dusk of Renewal, the Stasis Gauntlets with Dust Fill Nades. Even that that pales in comparison to this build. This build is even better than that one. Yeah, it's better than a whole host of those varied Hunter builds that you could... I mean, look at this gameplay, what we're doing here. We're face tanking this Tormentor over and over. Oh, he nearly sacrifices, look at that. We're face planting that boss over and over and over while we're getting hit against all those adds. And barely getting scratched. Crazy, crazy good. It is. So we're 140 motes. I've done a good job because this phase is the hardest. We've done enough ad clear now because I'm 2 minute 40. If I was like a minute 40 or minute 10, then I would maybe do a bit more ad clear because you got 3 alignments to do. Yeah, don't forget that. 2 minutes is a long time, but a minute's not enough, is what I'm saying. If you get to alignment phase and you are soloing this, you want a bit more time than 1 minute. 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, you're comfortable. You're comfortable with that. I use my super here to finish off the subjugator because we've got our last mode dunk. That's tier 3 done. Now we're on the final boss. I'll repeat again. The card does not have any funky mods on. I didn't pop on heavyweight. I didn't use any OP mods. No boons were used in this. No boons were used. Only extinction revives and pressure cooker. That's all I used on the card. That's all I did. So now we're on alignments. Same thing, hard shadow gameplay. And I'm going to go along all the alignments and then just activate. You know, activate the rocks. So I don't need to DPS the Shriekers, right? I can just go in. Now, if you want to solo farm this, you can. Right, it is still quicker in a 6-man, but Bungie has not fixed or addressed the soft lock. So you can still get soft locked. And even if you're aware of the soft locked, that doesn't mean an LFG member is. They may still soft lock it. On a solo basis, you won't soft lock. Although you need a very good, you need a half decent build to solo this, I think. If you go in here with, I don't know, some random gunslinger build, you're not going to do so well in this, right? So, you know, something useful. Some Prismatic Hunter build. Maybe Arc Hunter Tempest Strike combination blow with Raiden Flux or Gifted Conviction. Yeah, stuff like that. Don't come in here with Pure Void Night Stalker in this. It's no good for you. The build's rubbish, man. It's not for this. We're doing ad clear, right? We need ad clear and control of the ads. This is one build that does that very well. So some of the ads get stuck in the void bubble thing because they're fighting the servitor, and if you're not there, the ads won't come out. So you've got to go there to make sure that you cap the alignment in time. Look, we've done it. So we've got our third to do. Ammo's pretty good for the farm boss. I've got plenty of heavy. That's another thing. Hard Shadows ammo, I mean... The cost of going invis, I think it's free sword ammo, which is very cheap for this, right? And if you time it right, that void invis also will be backed up with you debuffing the enemy. It's like a mini tractor cannon. Tractor cannon's 30% debuff. Hard Shadow's 15. It's your global weakening. But having global weakening on demand with this, with invis, with devour on the candy mod... With Overshield, we're stacking so much survivability on this. Hunters should always be happy with that. So we try and grapple melee a Dread, a Grim, but they had other ideas. So we're just going to get rid of the Grims first because they probably might have a chance of killing me when I start DBSing the boss. So we are just going to get rid of them, which naturally on any build ever, you would just kill these Dread enemies, right? You would just do that. Just going to get rid of them. I've got to be careful. There's a lot of Curse for All on this phase, and they can technically wipe you. If enough Curse for All explode, you will actually wipe to them. Yeah, even with DR. 2, 3, 4 cursed will kill you solo, definitely. So when you're looking up in the sky like that, just pay attention. There might be cursed on your location, is what I'm saying to you. Okay, now we need to do the alignment puzzle thing, which is a little bit more awkward solo. It's not too bad, but it requires a little bit more intervention. Because if you wait too long, it seems as though the puzzle, the chain actually disappears. If you wait too long, you have to redo it. So you've actually got to go quick to do this. The camera will span to where you need to go to next. So when you activate it, look, boom, it's showing you where to go next, right? We can go invis as well, so that the boss is completely de-aggroed. Whilst we're just doing this chain. I do a clone here. That will deflect the cursed away, look, so they're not on me. That's a good example of clone being extremely useful to us at times. Anything to control the ads more in 2025 is extremely useful. Because Bungie has upped the AI density, you know, over and over for the last 3 years. They've been working on that. And they're going, every new activity is very ad dense, which is the right play. They should be doing that. But that has impacted how we play D2. And it should be any build at all, like I'll discuss at the end, should always have a good mixture of mainly very good ability gameplay and some weapons that do good damage and total damage, DPS, etc. Right? If a build only is too defensive, it won't. You just don't need it. And when we say defensive, what I really mean by that is a build that contains a lot of invis but not a lot of anything else. The game's not designed to be played like that now. You know, having good survivability can also mean just clearing the ads. And if you've got something that's not good at that and doesn't give you DR and you don't get health back, then you're not going to have a good time. And that's what it is. But look at what we're doing to the boss here. We're debuffing him with Heart Shadow to buff up Silk Strike. Look at that. 15% extra damage. That allows me. Look, same thing. We get weak after exit point. Boom. Class ability goes in. See that? And we suspended all those cursed. Which we would have died to those cursed, actually. If we hadn't done what I just did there. If they'll creep up on you. 4 or 5 cursed will kill you no matter what DI you have. It won't matter. You will still just die to them. Unless you saw a block or whatever. You know. So boss is sent. That's first phase. Remember, I'm not using any funky mods. There's no heavyweight. There's no grenadier. There's none of that. We're just doing the build as it is. We're just doing the Festival of Lost as it is. With Pressure Cooker, Extinction Revives. Same thing again. I've picked up a Tangle here. Same thing again. Same puzzle. I think I've got all the roles I need now for Festival of Lost. Obviously, if you saw my gun burn video, well then you know that I've got the God roll for that. There's nothing. I mean, there's a few other roles I have on it, but in my opinion, all the other roles are inferior compared to the one I showed on that video. So I've got the gun burn I want. The Strambo I'm very unimpressed with. I think it's very poor. Somebody recommended the Strambo to me. I tested it the other day and it was terrible. It makes me question people. I don't know why they're saying the Strambo's good. It's very poor is the Strambo. It's the wrong frame, I think. I mean, it's precision frame. It's probably the wrong frame. It's not a good bow. I recommend the Kinetic Tremor bow over that one. Mercury A is far better than this Strambo. Because you've got Kinetic Tremors. Simple as that. The shotgun's funky as well. It's not very good, the shotgun. So it's only the SMG that's really good in this one. But locked armor roll for the shotgun, just in case Bungie ever buffs that frame. Which I don't think they will, because it's a 4-more weapon. Yeah, the shotgun is a 4-more weapon, so I don't think they'll ever majorly buff it. So it'll probably always be just as a funky shotgun. I don't think it'll ever be very good. So I don't think it's that important to you. But lock down the roll and put it in the vault, whatever. So we got Grims here. I'm looking to get my super. I'm looking to get rid of that pumpkin Grim. I'm not having that. We'll try and grapple melee him. There we go. Get him this time. Go invis here. Evaluate. Look at how good that is. Just having a second to just go invis, evaluate, boom. Back to your heal clip and back to your devour. Okay, doing a bit more damage here. Look at that. We've debuffed him. I'm farming super here. Shackling him. We get a fresh spawn of Grims. My gosh, I should have left one Grim up. Because I got a fresh spawn. I didn't know it was going to work out. Like, look at what we're doing here. We get overshield in our super. Which is crazy good, right? So even though we're weak in super, boom, overshield goes in. Going Viz again here. We've got a pumpkin Grim up in the air. Probably one of the hardest enemy types. Is the pumpkins, definitely. And on top of that, a flying one. Oh, man. Means they need to be dealt with, basically. But look at that. We're face planting this boss a little bit. Still 4 or 5 Grims up. I'm actually not even dealing with that all the Grims here. But it's really OP because we can stick them with Festival Fly, get the attrition orbs to proc, get super regen while we're in Viz, to then come out of that, after that invis with more super energy, to then get a super. Do you see the gameplay loop there with that? Very good. This is very good for utility with this. Extremely good build. That was a solo of the Festival Lost. Now on with the build breakdown portion of the video. Okay, here is that build breakdown of the build that you just saw. Before I go into the build, I just want to state a couple of things. It's like a state of the game for Hunters. PVE solo. I just want to touch on a few things. Because Hunter mains in life, I'm saying outside of the game, use it a little bit lackluster and wavy in PVE in terms of what's good and what's not. And I think we need to hit the record a little straight. Now, there are technically only 3 classes in the game that are good in PvE, high-end PvE for Hunters, especially solo. But what I mean by that is, there's 3 elements that are good, and there's sub-versions of builds of those elements, and many, many, many different builds of that. Let me explain to you what we mean by that. So, there are 3 subclasses that are good. Prismatic Hunter is overwhelmingly the best class on Hunter. Especially the exotic class item, Inmost Light and Cryo, because of Woven Mill grenade spam. That is overwhelmingly, in my opinion, the best Prismatic Hunter build in the game. However, there are variations on that build with like Gifted Conviction, Ascension builds, and multiple other class item roles. There's subdivisions of Prismatic Hunter builds that are slightly varied from one to another, right? Do we understand that? I hope we understand that. But there are some other elements that are justified outside of Prismatic Hunter in solo Hunter gameplay. Number 1 is Threadrunner Pure Strand. Why is it justified outside of Prismatic? It's simple. Ensnare and Slam is an ability that you cannot get on Prismatic. And in my opinion, this is one of the best reworks that Hunters have had in the last 2 years. That you get Woven Mill on suspension. And the rework with Speedloader Slacks is incredibly powerful. This is one of my favourite builds in the game. It's top 5. It's top 5. It's incredibly powerful. So this build is justified outside of Prismatic uses. The next build that's justifiable outside of Prismatic uses is Tempest Strike Ascension. Tempest Strike. Tempest Strike is not available on Prismatic. This justifies pure Arc Strider gameplay. It does incredible levels amounts of damage and you get 75% DR on Tempest Strike use. 70% damage reduction on Tempest Strike uses. And it does incredible powerful damage and stacks with Combination Blow. So you can do a lot of gameplay looping with this. Not to mention, it's got Gifted Conviction. The only thing about the Arc Strider, I'll tell you what's weak about it. Well, Storm's Edge needs a rework. I don't really like the super. And Gathering Storm needs a buff at some point. They may buff it in Renegades. I don't know. Gathering Storm, I just think it's a poor super. Arc Staff is incredible, especially if you use Raiden Flux, and you can use Raiden Flux with this build, and use the neutral gameplay of Temper Strike and Ascension with it. And I think that build is incredibly powerful. I ain't just saying that it's powerful, I know that it's powerful, and I like using it. So those 3 classes, with variations of those builds, are very powerful. Like Pure Strand has some other builds as well. It's got Whirl and Maelstrom that again is not available on Prismatic. So this is the reasons why those 3 classes, including Prismatic, are very powerful in PvE. Now let's talk about what's not powerful. Night Stalker 2025, it needs a rework. It's just not it. It's far too defensive. In 2025, it's far too defensive. It needs more offensive capabilities. It's got a lot of debuff in its kit, but so what? We can apply debuffs with many other things nowadays. You know, we've got Wither and Gears, Tractor Cannon, certain exotic weapons give us debuff. You've got so much. So yeah, it's got a lot of weakening. It's got a lot of invis. It's got too much invis. For 2025, it's got far too much invis and it needs more offensive capabilities. Spectral Blades needs a buff. The damage is there, but the way we use it isn't. It's got too much hit reg. It's got the lack of hit reg. I think they should slow down the super and make it feel more impactful per swing. That would buff it. So imagine it like you're wielding something like a heavier weapon within that super, because you're wielding those like little daggers, right? Have it so that the weapon was something that he forms a energy of an axe, of a void axe or something. You slowly swing it, but it does more damage. Or rather than daggers, have it a sword. You know, your hunter summons a void energy sword and it slices a little slower, but it does more damage than what these are, because the hit reg on Spec Blades is just not it. That's what's suffering. So yeah, it's got Tether, but so is Prismatic Hunter. Prismatic Hunter, if you need a Tether, you can just use it on Prismatic. Yeah? So that's why Prismatic Hunter is just no good. There's no offensive capabilities. Gunslinger has just had some buffs, and Bungie are aware that Gunslinger is lagging. However, after the On Your Mark buffs, it's still just not it. Yeah, you could run Lucky Pants and, you know, have your times 10 on your mark and you get cured on Final Blows. That's still not enough, because the game isn't just about weapons anymore. It's a lot about abilities. The throwing knives on Hunter, they need a massive rework. They're just not good enough for in-game content. I even tried Trip Mine builds, if you remember, with the... I forgot the name of the exotic gauntlet. Somebody's going to remind me. What's it called? Trip Mine grenade build. It was terrible. There was nothing good about it. Although you could spam your trip mines, it just didn't. We didn't care. It was rubbish. So what you need to understand with builds in 2025 is that they need to have a good combination of weapon and ability, or overwhelmingly one or the other. In Gunslinger's case, it's overwhelmingly very good in weapon stat and cure with weapons, but that's all it does. It's got Golden Gun, and Deadshot got buffed, but Deadshot's terrible. I've done my tests with it. Even though you can spam it, it's just awful in endgame. All of this needs a rework. Blade Barrage, where's that at? That needs more damage. Even at 200 super stat, it's just not worth the run. See, Gunslinger's got elements on Prismatic, so you may as well just use Prismatic. So the only real good thing about this is just Golden Gun Marksman with Nighthawk, which can be achieved on Prismatic. See, that's why we can't justify these two. And then we come to Revenant. I know this is a little longer than what it should be. And then we come to Revenant. I know I've got some aspects off here, but I was... don't worry about it. I'm just explaining to you that Revenant is underwhelming. There's no element from Revenant that we cannot get, really, on Prismatic Hunter. I mean, yeah, you've got extra fragments to get slow and all this sort of stuff, but who cares? We've got things on Prismatic Hunter. So if we need Silence and Squall, if we need the Wither and Blade, you go Mask of Fealty on Prismatic Hunter. So there's no point in pure Revenant. There's no point in running it. There just isn't. It needs massive buffs, right? So Revenant needs a massive buff. Gunslinger needs a further buff after what they've just did, and Night Stalker needs a massive rework. Huge. Apart from that, everything else is good on Hunter. It sounds like everything's terrible. Right, let's break down this build quickly now. Silk Strike, of course. Marksman's Dodge, Grapple, Threaded Spectre, and Ensnare and Slam. I could go Well and Maelstrom, but I value Threaded Spectre that much in solo gameplay. if you can have a ability to divert enemies away from you, that is incredibly powerful in the game. Well, and Maelstrom is incredibly powerful as well. But for my build, I'm still standing by Freddy Spectre's the way to go for this, for me. For what I do. I like this more. Fragments are thread of generation, wisdom, mind, warding, and continuity. I stand by all of this as well. I love all of this, right? This is my favourite. Speed loader slacks. This is one of my favourite hunter builds of all time. Of the last, or should we say, I don't know, of the last 2 years, this is one of my favourite builds. Speed loader slacks is the way to go. Radiant Dance Machines is not. Radiant Dance Machines gives class ability energy on primary kills. Speed loader slacks gives it back on sustained damage. This is what makes Speed loader slacks superior to Radiant Dance Machines and even 6 Coyote. You can try and do it like that, but you're just making it harder work. Just go Speed loader slacks. Just listen to the advices. Yeah, you can play extremely aggressive with this. Now, stats, I still stand by. A couple of people told me a few days ago that I'm rocking too much class ability, and I wholeheartedly disagree with that, because the more overshield that you have, you get DR off that overshield, and if you rock too low of an overshield, you may die in this build. So in my opinion, you creep that class ability stat to 160 or 180 with a class font. Yeah, with a class font. Or you're going to be making a ton of orbs. He's the build that I'm running. Right, there'll be a dim link anyways. So weapons, I'm using Vessel of Light, Attrition Orbs, I understand it. There are alternatives. Here are your alternatives. Listen closely. We've got Witherhoard, Lost Signal, and Velocity Baton. You've also got other weapons like Anarchy. Dragon's Breath not as much recommended because Dragon's Breath kills you, although it will give your class ability back, but you can't play up close with it. What I'm trying to explain to you, damage over time works very well with Speed loader slacks, and the best damage over time weapons in the game are area denial GLs. Now let's do it again. Let's take a further 5-second moments of silence to appreciate those people last summer that deleted their Festival Flight demo attrition orbs. Let's have 5 seconds. You can taste the thickness in the air of that, can't you? Of Guardians right now whimpering over this. Use Witherhoard, use Lost Signal, use Velocity Baton. I'm just using Mini Tool. I could have used Year Tide. It was whatevers. And finally, Heart Shadow. This weapon gets slept on so much. It provides a 15% weakening, and you can go constantly in Viz. So not only is my build highly aggressive, I've included a bit of defensive capabilities into it. This Heart Shadow is Night Stalker in a sword. I've trapped Night Stalker Graviton Forfeit in this sword, and I can use it just like Graviton. So that gives you even more reason why Night Stalker is absolutely pointless when we've got a weapon like Heart Shadow that can give us invis at the touch of a button at any moment, and infinite, well, as much as your ammo will provide for you. That just goes to show. Why use Night Stalker when you've got one single void exotic sword that can do what Night Stalker does anyway? Yeah? Honestly, literally. And then you can play an aggressive build like this, or Prismatic Hunter, and so on and so forth. Finally, artifact mods. Shield Crush, Tangled Web, Elemental Coalescence, Freddy Blast, Pack Tactics, Freddy Proliferation, and Tightly Woven. That was the build oversight. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.